Good morning, everybody. This is today's Traders Daily Discipline, and I'm your host, Jason Allen. As always, it is Wednesday, the 20th of August, 2025, and I'm glad to be with you today. I just want to give a little bit of house cleaning before we get to work. I just want to remind everybody that I'm going to have a lot more new content available sometime in the next week to 2 weeks. So if you haven't had a chance to look at my sites recently, maybe in the next week or two, you might want to do that. I'll announce it, of course, but I'm going to have uh, some free content and more critical detail in the paid content for those of you that are deciding whether or not you want to become full-time members of what I offer. In the meantime, though, I want to give you a little bit of something today that I think is really good from a standpoint of common sense. So let's just get started, shall we? Today's quote to get us rolling is: when there are more than one cure for a disease, it means there is no cure for that disease. And that was said by Anton Chekhov, famous Russian author. And one thing, I believe this with all my heart, that the reason most people are financially average, apathetic, or indifferent is because they choose to be. They don't know that they choose to be, but they choose to be. And a lot of times, a contributing factor to that is the ignoring of common sense. And when I say common sense, I mean common sense. When you really think it through, there are certain things about the trading environment that make absolutely no sense at all, but people continue along those pathways all the time. And you would think that people would come to their senses and say things like, wait a minute, this isn't working. There has to be a better way. When I was in my formative years as a trader, back in the 80s and 90s in downtown Chicago, I asked myself some hard questions. Why isn't this working for me? It seems to be working for everybody else. And I went ahead and did a little research on who everybody else was, and I seemed to ruffle a few feathers when I did that. But the fact of the matter is that about 99% of the people who are purporting to tell you how to trade and what matters and what's important and how to do this, most of them are selling a 50-pound bag of BS inside a 10-pound container. It's really, they know what they're selling to you doesn't work. It's never worked and it never will work, but you're willing to pay money for it. I would love to name names. Maybe if you private message me, I can give you a few names. Some of the names I name, you'd be really, really surprised to hear. Now, why do I say that? I'll say that because one of the things I discovered was that there are industry documentations and reports and statistics that come from unbiased third parties, like the regulators and private research firms and all different kinds, really. And they basically say this: that since the dawn of recorded trading in leveraged instruments, things like zero sum transactions, let's say futures, forex, options, warrants, early on equities, of course, aren't that way anymore. The fact of the matter is in those environments, roughly, roughly 80 to 85%, depending on the market, of people who open a live trading account and do at least one trade during their lifetime will close that account at a loss. Some people lose all their money, some people just a little bit, and some people lose more than they invest. for strange reasons that have nothing to do with common sense. So I asked myself, if 80 to 85% of the people are losing all the time, why is that? If that's never changed, how come that's never changed? If all of the tools that we have available to us are purported to make all the difference, who's lying? I've been a broker in this field when I was younger, a Series 3 registered licensed broker, worked in a brokerage firm, held client money, found client money. I think I had in the life of my brokerage business as a broker before I went out on my own as a trader, I think I had 2 clients out of all the people that I opened accounts with. Maybe 2 people made money net. You know, why is that? Now, if you are honest with yourself and you're not making the money that you should be making, there's a reason why that is. And you need to ask yourself, what is it that I'm falling for? Because you really are. And like Chekhov said, when there's more than one cure for a disease, that means there's no cure. Try this, try this, try this, try this. Oh, still not getting well? Try this. How many times do you go around the block with that crap, but you call it point and figure, Elliott wave, pattern recognition, artificial intelligence, blah, blah, blah. If you're like most people, you need to be honest with yourself. Stop BSing yourself that you know what you're doing when you're not making money every day, every week. There's a reason for that. It's because most likely, like most traders in this field, you believe something that simply patently is untrue, but you don't know that, and so you continue to believe it. I would love it if you would take more time with me and my material because I'm going to show you things over time that you just wouldn't simply believe. Makes all the difference in the world. So I'm going to encourage you to stay focused on what is really happening. Next couple of days, we're going to take a few more minutes on that. And I want you just to open your eyes, take a look around, and ask yourself, wait a minute, I've been trading for X amount of time. I'm haven't doubled my account balance every 90 to 120 days like some people are able to do. Why is that? You really want to learn how to do this? Guess what? You can. Anyone can learn to do this. Problem is, you're looking in the wrong area right now, most likely, if you're like most guys. Now, if you're one of those special people that have figured it out, good for you. And love to hear and see more about what you're doing. But if you're like most people and you're not there yet, that's okay. We can change that if you really want to. But in between now and then, your first step, stop listening to conventional wisdom because it's not wisdom. It's hurting you. I'll have more for you tomorrow. In the meantime, guys, have a great trading day. And let's look forward to Thursday's meeting. See you then.